everyone, it's Mama Benedict. Just starting out my channel here and trying to do some videos, and I wanted to share my experience of having COVID-19, aka coronavirus. And this is my opinion. It's just what I had. There's total disclaimer, nobody else may have had it this way, and I'm the only one, and maybe it's because I'm overweight and out of shape and all these other things. So I'm just sharing what it was like for me. So if you want to complain about what I say about me, I guess that's just the way it is. Anyway, welcome. So my husband's gonna interview me and ask me questions about what it was like. He's behind the camera, and now I've got this one here who can't stay away. So anyway.
Okay, so I have a couple questions. When exactly did you know that you have maybe possible the COVID-19?
I still thought it was allergies or like a really bad cold. So the only way I was certain, because I was really hoping it wasn't COVID, so I was really not in that frame of mind, was when we got the positive result. I wasn't surprised, but I was really hoping it was just a bad flu, cold, allergies, whatever.
What was your first impression or your perception of the results? You were told, okay, on the phone, you are now positive.
Like I said, I was like, oh man, oh, this is COVID, and oh well, because there's not, what can I do? And I didn't realize how bad it was going to get at that point. So I was like, okay, I have it. I can't get rid of it. So
yeah, people have different types of symptoms.
Yeah, and I didn't know how bad it was going to be. So my reaction to getting COVID probably was very mild, honestly. Because everybody kept saying, "Oh, it's just like a bad cold, bad flu."
So what were exactly your symptoms? Okay. Because your symptoms in mine were a little bit different.
Yeah. So for me, I'm overweight and I'm out of shape, and I'm readily admit that. My husband could go for a run even though he's overweight. He could still go for a run because he was in the Navy and he was totally fit. And so he did better than I did. Partially, I'm sure it's because of that. But anyway, so we had just come back from a trip, so that's probably where we got COVID. Almost 100% sure that's where we got COVID. We have to do stuff. We have to live our lives. And it wasn't like I have any serious pre-existing medical conditions, nor does my husband, and nor do the children, that would make it so we couldn't go. And we couldn't get the vaccines until we got back. That's just what it was like we live in Missouri, and that's just how it was. So my experience was, the first thing I noticed was I had a sore throat, and my nose was running. And I thought, well, we're in a different part of the country, so it's allergies. It's starting to be spring and all of this. And then it was like that, and it was like that, and whatever. And then the day we came home, I started coughing. And I still thought, okay, well, maybe it's because we're on a plane, or of course I was wearing a mask. And I wasn't touching anybody or anything, right? Really. So, so it was cough. And then the next day was worse. So really it was just like a cough that day that was just constantly. But I just kind of, whatever. The next day I just felt so cruddy, and I don't remember exactly. A lot of the time that I was really sick, I don't remember very much because I was so sick. I was just trying to survive. So, but then the third or fourth day, I was just feeling awful, but we went to get the rapid testing and they came back with it was. And so I was feeling bad, but it wasn't that bad yet. And I didn't realize that it was going to get bad. So the worst was maybe 5, 6 days in, I started to be in extreme pain all over my body, on the outside and on the inside. It didn't matter where you touched me or if there was something inside, everything that moved, and it was just extremely painful. Not only that, but then my migraines kind of kicked into gear, and I had a really bad migraine And so it was really bad, and there was nothing here in the United States. The doctors pretty much, if you don't have any pre-existing conditions and you're still breathing, basically, they're like, just stay home, do what you can. And so I took what is it? The severe cold and flu, like NyQuil, Dayquil. I just took the Target brand. But that was, I think, the worst part was the extreme pain. I asked my sister who has fibromyalgia, I said, does it like that for you? Because I know how it feels to have migraines, but I don't know how it feels like to have fibromyalgia. She said maybe it is like that, because when she has a flare-up, everything in her body hurts. So I don't know about what you people think if you have fibromyalgia and that's what it's like, but it was just extreme pain. And it was so bad, and I couldn't just be by myself because I'm a mom and I'm still nursing and I co-sleep, and it's not like I could say just take care of the baby and let me be sick. You know, I couldn't do that. So I had to, this is where Jesus comes in. I had to just offer it up and just beg Jesus to help me, because I had to, she couldn't understand. She's still too young to understand that she can't walk, like roll all over me and stuff. So it was really painful.
What about the condition of the children? Because Faustina, for instance, was the one still getting milk, for instance, breastfeeding. How was that?
So this is amazing. I as far as we know, the children never actually got COVID. And we didn't keep them away from us really that much. And especially Faustina, because she was right with me all the time. So our son had an appointment with our family doctor today, and while he was having the appointment, I asked him questions, and I said, why do you think the children didn't show symptoms, or why do you think they probably didn't have COVID or whatever? He was very helpful, and he said children's immune systems are much stronger, which makes sense, obviously. Oh yeah, Mama's phone. That's so funny. So children's immune systems are much stronger, and they can handle this kind of stuff. One, they could have been, and two, they could have been asymptomatic, where they had COVID, but there were no symptoms, or very like low key symptoms. And he said even if they had a negative result, they could have been positive, because we did have the older ones tested. Couldn't get this one tested, but we got the little one. Sorry, I pulled your hair. I'm sorry. We couldn't get the little one tested, but we got the other ones tested, and they were negative. So I was just really in shock and thanking God that the children didn't seem to get sick. And the doctor said that also with Faustina, Abba's got the phone for if you want to go get it. So he also said, now remember, and I do remember this, but because she's nursing, she's getting antibodies from me anyway. So whatever antibodies my body was making while I had COVID were going to her. So I'm sure that, and you know, there's, you know, I mean, a lot of it's medical, but I do believe that there's power in prayer. So
did you have any sense of guilty that because many people assume that if, yes, we know mask is helping, social distance is helping, washing hands is helping. Did you feel that when you test positive on your end, you felt guilty that people will see you or think that maybe you were reckless, like you went everywhere touching the hands of people, all crazy things? Did you have any kind of like the guilty inside?
So I did have some guilt. I do have some guilt, but at the same time, I kind of have to absolve myself because, well, one, we went on a trip knowing that we could contract COVID, but hoping that we wouldn't. And we were really trying to be careful. I mean, we did all the things we were supposed to do, and it's not like we purposely went in crowds of people. Yes, we were on a plane, but but people keep saying that it's safe on a plane, like the air is taken out and whatever. I don't know all that stuff. Anyway, but as soon as I knew that positive result, I started contacting the people that we had visited, which weren't very many, but I wanted to tell them, and I felt so horrible. Because if they got it, it would be because of me. But at the same time, it sounds harsh, but they knew the risk and get in and meeting with us. But still, it's not fair to say it's a risk in seeing people I haven't seen in 20 years or so. So I felt really bad. I didn't like publicly tell people on Facebook I told one of my mom groups that's little and stuff, but I didn't like just plaster all over Facebook that I had COVID. I think because I just didn't want to deal with the questions, and I was so sick. I mean, I practically was not even on social media, which is just basically Facebook, for all of that time. I mean, I had ended up with thousands of emails because I just couldn't get rid of them until I was feeling better. So I just didn't want to hear, well, it's your fault for getting COVID. I mean, I already have depression and anxiety, which are, they're diagnosed. And I take medicine for that, but that doesn't mean it goes away completely. And I'm that kind of neurotic person anyway. So I just need to stay away from the drama. So do I feel guilty now and about it? No, because all those other people that even if they were in the airport or wherever else they were in the same space as us, they were there choosing to be there too. I just like to stay away from drama. I think that's the main part. I'm long-winded. I'm sorry.
Another thing, a little bit related to that.
Faustina. Your tongue is fine. Go watch Cocomelon. No Cocomelon.
Go and check. Go and watch with. Go and give Claire.
You want to watch Pete the Cat?
Go and watch with Claire.
Yeah, go with Sissy. It's okay.
Go and.
You want me to put Pete the Cat?
No.
Mama.
So okay, ask and I'll try.
Yeah. So. Okay. Another related question is apart from the guilty and everything. I remember. When we came back, the first thing we were supposed to take the vaccine, we already had it scheduled. Then we had to change to that Saturday,
right?
The day where we found also we are positive. I know we already planned to get the vaccine, and now even after we are planning to take the vaccine, and we are going to schedule for that. So it's not that the vaccine which we are going to get is because now we got the COVID. No, even before that, we already planned to get the vaccine.
Oh yeah, we had already planned to get the vaccine, and I'm not going to debate with people about vaccine.
The question is, do you see any value or importance? I know people cannot take it for different reasons, but for you, and if someone wants to hear from you, will you encourage someone to take the vaccine?
Okay. So
if they don't have any.
That's great. If you don't have any underlying medical conditions, I wholeheartedly encourage people to get vaccinated all the time, whatever it is. That's my personal thing. I understand that people are very opinioned about this, about vaccines in general, and I can't make that decision for someone else. We live in, that's part of living in the United States, which is great. I mean, I wish people would get vaccinated, but then again, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a medical degree, nor do I have anything else that would help me to understand. But basically, it seems to me, and my very basic knowledge, that vaccines are helping to keep us alive. And we've eradicated polio, we've eradicated
tuberculosis.
I mean, all these other things. And I mean, yes, I get it that like chickenpox is not a big deal. I had it as a child. But do I really want my children to go through that? No. Why should they have to suffer? Absolutely have to suffer if they don't have to. Suffering is a part of life. I fully believe that that's part of God's allowing us to suffer so that we can use it as a prayer and we can also grow and become better people. Excuse me. But I'm not going to make someone suffer on purpose. So of course I'm going to get my children vaccinated. Here's the thing. If you don't want a vaccine, fine. That's your choice. And that's totally fine. But I am so afraid of COVID from what I had. Now remember, I have anxiety and depression, that I don't ever want to feel that way again. So yes, I'm afraid of suffering, and I don't think there's anything wrong with being afraid of suffering. Jesus begged our Father in heaven to take the suffering, let this cup pass. So if Jesus can be afraid of suffering, then I can be afraid of suffering too. And I have, but I also have this great example of Jesus who says that suffering also brings us closer to God and makes us better, he suffered, died on the cross for us and saved us from our sins. So I would absolutely say, please get the vaccine just so that you stay well. We don't need anybody else getting sick from COVID.
And maybe I can add one thing, because as African or black in general.
Oh yeah, He won't, I don't know why he isn't going to get on camera.
You can see the black hand is here.
Yes, and you know his accent. So anyway, for
his
those
American
of you that
accent.
don't know my husband, is from Tanzania.
Yeah, so there is that perception people have that, and especially at the beginning, mostly it was this is exemption from Africans or black people. I want to just to let them know this is a serious disease. Don't take any joke on it because it doesn't matter of your race, color, whatever, tall, whatever. The only difference will be, yes, if you are a little bit don't have any medical pre-existing conditions, you'll be able to recover quicker than someone else. But this one doesn't care who you are in terms of race, age, whatever. It comes, it comes.
Right. For example, my mother, who has multiple medical conditions, but she has some lung conditions and she has rheumatoid arthritis, and she's older. She basically didn't leave the house for an entire year or more. She finally just got her second vaccine shot yesterday, but that's the only 2 times she's ever really been out of the house. I think my father drove her to the store once and she stayed in the car. She's so frail. I mean, she's a really strong woman, but she was really frail. And she knew that if she got COVID, it would anyway. So we're not going to talk about that because then I'm going to start crying. But the point is that there are lots of people that they've been so alone. And this is real. I hope that, September 11th was really crazy and awful and horrible, but it brought people together. But it only brought people together for a while, like it was, and that's sad. There were people like totally uplifting in one another, and I mean, you couldn't say anything horrible about the police, or you couldn't say anything horrible about doctors or firefighters, whatever it was. Everybody was trying to take care of everybody, right? Even if you weren't at the epicenter or whatever, and then, I mean, our whole country. Forget anybody else. We are in such chaos right now. It is so sad. And to think I would never, ever, ever want to be purposely given suffering. And I don't think that God purposely gives us suffering. I think He allows it for a better purpose. And so we grow from suffering if we let ourselves. Okay? And we can also use suffering as a prayer. If you can't do anything, say, just give this to you, Jesus, all this pain and everything else. It's like saying, my misery is yours. I mean, we just give Him everything. So the thing now, you think that COVID has brought more people together. What do you need? What do you want? You want ping pong? Okay. So I've seen a lot more. Just be patient. That a lot more people are trying to help other people, and I've just seen it in our own small community that people are saying that they would go shop for someone else. I mean, we have neighbors that found out that we had COVID and they did our laundry. They went shopping for us. And then we have a dear friend. You know who you are if you ever see this. She came and she did our dishes. She's a doctor, a medical doctor. She had already had her vaccines, but she has babies at home. So she put on all of this gear and came and did our dishes for us. And I think we are so blessed because there are people that nobody would have. Yeah, baby shark. That people wouldn't have, people don't have that help. But why can't we help one another? I think that's so important. Forget about your religion. Forget about your political affiliation. Forget about your gender or what you think you are. So all of that, who cares? We're still human beings and we still have to help each other. And I think we need to push past this. And I know I'm getting on a little soapbox here, but I think it's a perfect time to say something that, it seems like when we're happy and it's great and everybody's doing great. Like, July 4th, everybody's happy and it's all great. And then you go back to doing your own thing, but it has to be really bad for us to come together and take care of one another. And I think, I know that there's evil in the world, but why can't we combat it by doing one little itty bitty thing? And nobody has to see us do it. It's because we all affect one another. Even though it might not be seen or heard and nobody says, oh, you did that one thing. It's so important. And I know that I'm rambling on, but I think it's really important that there are itty bitty things that we can do that will change the world. We don't have to, end up being the Pope or the chancellor of some country or the president of the United States or congressman or a CEO of a big corporation. Just be us. Be who God meant you to be, and that will bring about so much good. So you have any more questions? I got
no question. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer all these questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Ernest, for interviewing me, letting me talk.